Good afternoon, everyone. Hoxow berry growing area and the yellow pin. Snow, rare, late, unusual, 6 to 8 inches. Blanketing the trees coming down. Ski resorts, what you see there, that's all fresh snow. Montana as well. Those glaciers seem to have a little extra snowpack this year. Ice Age Farmer, Grand Solar Minimum crop loss map, he pinned right there. So I'm going to add this into that mix as well. These are the losses from Canada over the last week, all centered in the same exact area. But you see Maine and Vermont. Taking a look at Maine, these were the Monday lows at freezing still. I was talking about crop losses and trying to trace it back and see how far the cold would extend, especially when looking at these same areas were surrounded by ice even in the water. Seeing unusual snows up in Scandinavia as well. These past charts to show the maximum cooling areas seem to reflect what's going on at the moment. Now that the weather's warm, sprouts, fun, easy to grow. And this video is brought to you by TrueLeafMarket.com, heirloom and organic seeds for any grow zone on our planet. The Adapt 2030 links below in the description box, as well as links to all of the slides in tonight's video. We're going to start out in Western North America. British Columbia receiving snow, feet of snow, as well as some of the mountains in the U.S. Marked in yellow on the pin was a follow-up from yesterday's story where I was talking about different types of berries that can be grown in cooler conditions. The Hoxow berry, there's a test plot up there that had a really good harvest. Crop losses across eastern Canada, but over in the west, snowy June, Okanagan. It looks to be that heavy, thick, wet snow that you also see in early snowstorms coming into the winter. Eureka Lodge, 6 to 8 inches. And through the story, it shows you the snow depths here out on some of the outdoor furniture. Snow across mountain passes, but notice how it went from this, what's just a flake or two, to something deeper. 22 centimeters, but remember, those of you in the U.S., 30 centimeters is a full foot. So we're looking at least 8 inches. And the Weather Network even claimed a whopping, a whopping. They don't use those types of words in their releases. They usually try to downplay these events. Silver Star Resort, up to 40 centimeters, 1.5 feet over the last 24 hours. Now take a look at the snow. What you're seeing is all the fresh snow from this storm. But it's just a dusting. Getting down into Calgary as well. Big White Ski Resort. And even moving a little bit south, Mount Hood. And that same storm system continued all the way over into Montana. Well, this is in Glacier National Park, and you know how you're hearing about all the glaciers that are retreating? Well, this super late snow cover on top of that is still adding to this year's snowpack. I want to bring you over here to Christian, the Ice Age Farmer Grand Solar Minimum crop loss map. He's been adding different locations across the globe that are showing losses that are making the media news feeds. So the button that you see is the date and then also the link back to the story. And see where that is, just above Montreal. And then this is a follow-up from the story I did yesterday. I'm going to be adding these very links into his same map. Talking about the asparagus losses from these late season frosts, potato diseases, potato losses in the fields, cherry plums, pear. These are all due to the June frost that just decimated this part of the east coast of Canada's agriculture zone. Interestingly, I got a message in that pin that says not affected by the current cold. So it looks like from the apple damaged plantations over from Vermont through Maine, that whole area is really cooling down. And when you look at the main temperatures from just Monday morning, you'll see how this was accompanied with that frost. Now, looking at all the temperatures, they're in the near freezing range. So I thought, how far would the cold extend? So I'm taking a look back in time here. And this is the full glaciation over North America. And if you notice over in the Canadian Maritimes and where Vermont and Maine are, Part of that ice cap was over water. And you can see over through Prince Edward Island as well. So I was taking a look, okay, as the onset of this thing comes on, or the retreat of it, how far is the cold going to push? And would you find a periphery area reacting to the new, what's going to be cooler conditions? Not full glaciation, grand solar minimum. Would it show the periphery areas first? And if you go around the clock, there definitely is a method to the madness on the melting. And looking at the vineyard losses across Italy, France, Germany, and Austria, on full-blown glaciation, you can see that that area, right where those countries come together, is definitely going to be cooler. So just step it down a few notches for a grand solar minimum, and you can start to match up and see where these areas are. So let's take a look under that super huge ice sheet up to the north, and we're going to find Scandinavia. Just at the very edge, Norway and Sweden, record snows, even snow up to last week, which they were calling bizarre and how deep it was. So it's not about a full-blown glaciation, no. It's about look back in history where these cooler patterns existed and then forecast into the future where they're going to be, although at a very light version of mild, deep, thick ice. Just a grand solar minimum on the 2,000-year repeating cycle. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. And if you want to hear more audio content just like this, I have a weekly podcast, Mini Ice Age Conversations, on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Soundcloud. You can get a full half-hour format, so you can do other things and still stay informed.